Hi, how's everybody doing? Yeah, it's a fascinating day, right? You heard some amazing speakers with tremendous amount of accomplishments and people who are just starting off. We have this beautiful girl with her father that's actually getting water to poor communities around the world. And that's just such a amazing approach that they have, where they are actually trying to use their entrepreneurial approach, and they're actually creating a movement. They're creating a movement, and by creating that movement, they're bringing about change. And that movement is very simple. You drink the water, you fill it up, drink it again, but every time you're doing it, share. Share that act so that collectively we are actually increasing the awareness of potable water and lack of access, which then allows them to generate the resources to bring about how to get water to other people. So thank you very much for what you're doing. I think and it's a great lead into what we do. So we are both people that are entrepreneurs, but what we are doing is to a large extent looking at how to discover your purpose. So, first, my name is Akhtar Bacha. I am an innovation catalyst. I'm an artist. I'm an author. I'm an entrepreneur. I've done too many things. But the reason I bring this out is that most of us have multiple skills, but we don't talk about that because we think that what we should be talking about is only what we bring to our work. We are a parent. Some of you are writers. Some of you are poets. Some of you are musicians. And that part of your brain has to be successful and has to be activated if you're going to be successful in anything you do. So just as a way of framing, we should ensure that we talk about ourselves in the fullest possible way, because that is what is going to help you develop your purpose and your purpose mindset. Jen is an innovation catalyst. She's a design strategist. She's an artist. She's a curator. She's an educator. She's a mentor. And she too brings multiple skill sets to everything that we do. How many of you use the word passion? All right, at least my students could not have got admitted into UW without using the word passion 50 times. Right? But passion is kind of useless because it really doesn't do anything. It's just a word. And passion is what? Passion is self-satisfaction. It doesn't really add value to anybody except yourself. So what I want and what we want to talk about is moving away from individual benefits to the common good. How do you actually think about what is it that you are doing? What is it that we collectively do that adds to the common good? Now, you may be passionate in how you go about doing it, but passion should not be the driver. Purpose and what is your purpose should be the driver. So it is about attaining the common good to thinking it through a social justice and equity lens. And it is only by bringing in a collective vision, which is what WIC is doing, which is what Women in the Cloud is doing, is actually shifting the narrative from the individual to the collective. It is shifting the narrative and saying we together can make this world a much better place. And yes, each of us individually need to contribute, but that contribution is connected to a much larger goal. So one of the things that we do in our work at the university and through some of the programs I run is to help people discover their purpose. What is your purpose? And the purpose which Imperative as a company actually runs is that it actually helps you identify what your strengths are. So it's really like a strengths finder. It is like, taking a Briggs-Myers test. But it is an assessment that is focused on purpose. And it combines three things: impact, values, and craft. And I'll share some of that for you. So I am a catalyst. I took this test, it's a 10-minute online thing. And my goal is to be able to impact communities and society. That's what I like doing. I'm driven to create opportunities for others to succeed. And I do that by uncovering new information and develop new insights. So by just understanding that allows me to figure out what I enjoy doing best. And that gives me purpose. Now, that doesn't mean that, of course, the part that I enjoy most when I teach is when I teach. The part that I dislike the most is to read 80 papers in 2 days and grade them. My students probably dislike that as much as I do, is writing the papers. But that's something that we just have to do. But it is the fact that the purpose of what I do gives me gratification. Everything else does not matter. Right? So how do we discover within each of you what is your purpose? And if you can tie that purpose to whatever you're doing, then you are going to create an impact that goes beyond yourself, but it extends to the common good. The second piece I want you to understand is how many of us are told to go solve a problem? But most of us, there's a problem, I'm going to go fix it. Most of us will do in business, something is not working, let's go fix it. But nobody is actually telling you, what do you want to discover? What do you really want to be? So how do you search for the best in people rather than trying to figure out what is it that I need to fix? I have a bent nose. Now I can start worrying about it and say, I got to go get plastic surgery to fix it. Or I can say, I don't look at it, so I don't care. I don't. I look at it in the morning, I look like crap when I wake up. The mirror doesn't want to see me, I don't want to see myself, and that's about it. After that, it's somebody else's problem. So it's the perspective of trying to look at it and say, is that important? Or what is important? So how do we search for the best in people? Because nobody is actually looking at you and saying, because you have a bent nose, there is nothing best in you. Initial reaction might be that, but that's fleeting. So the second way to think about appreciative inquiry, which is a business strategy by David Cooper-Ryder and Saurabh Srivastava from Case Western University, is to actually start asking unconditional positive questions. So it is that discovery of what is the best in you, what is the best in your team, what is the best in your company, and building on that. And then envisioning what you can do with it and create the world that you want to be in. So that's the whole point, is not to solve a problem, but to seek a solution. And just by shifting that frame, our whole approach becomes positive. And we're not going into this downward spiral of negativity, but we are actually creating an upward spiral of mobility. And that's really where you want to think about. So what you should be all doing, or what we should all be doing, is we should be discovering, we should be dreaming, we should be designing, and then we should be delivering. And the goal is to work from positive change. So, we all have a SWOT analysis, right? We look at our strengths, we discover our weaknesses, we do our opportunities, we do a threat analysis. But instead, you should be looking at what are your strengths, what are your opportunities, what are the aspirations, and what are the results that you want to deliver. And that's, I think, what that allows you to change your perspective. And that change of perspective is really what I want you to start thinking about as you look at what it means to have a purpose mindset. Now, we've all heard about the fixed mindset, and we've heard about the growth mindset, right? I mean, most of you have heard about the fixed and growth mindset. Every business strategy is all about growth mindset. And that's great. But the person with the fixed mindset is the happiest person. They wake up, they do what they want to do, they shut off, they go have a beer, watch a game, wake up in the morning, But we are all told to have a growth mindset because we want to embrace challenges, we want to persist in the face of setbacks, we want to see effort as a path to mastery, we want to learn and seek feedback, and we want to feel inspired by others. And these are all great traits. But what does a growth mindset actually do? What does it do?
Learn from your mistakes and keep going.
So you learn from your mistakes and you keep growing. So it is about individual growth. Why do businesses like it? Because
we make mistakes.
No, you make mistakes, but because it allows you to grow. Right? So it is for the business good that if you develop a growth mindset, you're actually leading to business good. But a business good may not necessarily lead to societal good. So how do you actually say, what is your role in society? So you have to start thinking beyond the growth mindset and develop a purpose mindset. And that's the work that I do. I'm writing a book. My book is called The Purpose Mindset: How Microsoft Inspires its Employees and Alumni to Change the World. I used to run Microsoft's corporate philanthropy, and I'm taking the lessons that I've learned from there and applying it in this book. So one of the things that a purpose mindset does is, first and foremost, it is not about passion, but it is about compassion. And compassion is what actually moves from personal growth to the common good, to the community good. It is about really thinking about, are you doing things right, or are you doing the right thing? That's a big distinction. How do you choose? How do you decide? Are you actually unreasonable as a person? Now, unreasonable, no parent wants their kid to be unreasonable. But I tell you, be unreasonable. Question everything your father tells you. Question everything your mother tells you. But by questioning, don't become obtuse. Use that as a way to learn. By questioning, you actually learn. If you want to bring about collective change, you have to be unreasonable. Martin Luther King, whose birthday we just celebrated a week ago, was unreasonable. Gandhi was unreasonable. Mother Teresa was unreasonable. Even people who have done bad things have been unreasonable. Hitler was also unreasonable. So it's not about good or bad, but it is about this mindset that says that I'm not going to take no for an answer, but I'm going to continuously strive and improve and learn. But if you have purpose, and that purpose is for the common good, then you are amplifying and benefiting society. So resilience, inspiring action, focusing on embracing ambiguity are all characteristics of a purpose mindset. And it is when you start to observe, or you start to absorb, and when you start to reflect. And at the end of the day, a purpose mindset is when you start tasting the ground that you walk on. It is not about stepping into someone else's shoes, but it is really understanding the context in which you're going to operate. And that context in which you operate has to be where you are not just looking at it, but you are embracing it fully. And by embracing it fully, you are now actually driving purpose. And that's how you start thinking about creating movements. Why is it important to create a movement? Why is it important to create a movement?
Make change.
To make change. Because a movement shifts it from an individual to bringing everybody else around. Greta Thunberg is just a symbol of a collective action around climate change. Malala Yousafzai is a movement which is a collective action on ensuring education for girls. They're creating movements. A business succeeds if you create a movement. Bless you. right? Why is movement important? Because of collective action, but it is through movement that you're actually attaching a sense of purpose. I can create a business to deliver food, or I can create a business that promotes healthy eating. But I create a business which might actually be the exact same thing. I am going to deliver food. But if I'm creating a business around healthy eating, I'm actually creating a movement around people who are actually saying, I want to eat healthy food. And now you actually get people behind you. Uber created a movement. Amazon created a movement. What is Amazon's movement? I'm assuming everybody has used Amazon here. What is Amazon's movement?
Online shopping.
Well, that is the business, is online shopping. But why do you shop online?
Convenience, yeah.
What? Convenience. It is all about customer satisfaction. We go back to Amazon, even though logically we may say there is no reason it does this, it does that. But it has created this attachment, this deep attachment that says convenience. Uber is also about convenience. It is not about cost. It is not about cheapness. It is not about fairness. It is about convenience. So businesses also create movements. And I think that is the most important thing to look at. So purpose. So what I want you to take away is live your life every day with a profound sense of purpose. Why do you wake up? That's a gift. You woke up in the morning. That is a gift. What are you going to do with that gift for 15 hours, 18 hours, 14 hours, and then you wake up again the next day and you get that same gift? That's a profound sense of purpose. Now, clearly we don't think about it every day, nor should we think about it every day, because that would just drive me crazy and everybody else crazy, and that's not what this is about. But it is about the purpose of how we take water. Together we rise. That's the purpose, right? So you wake up in the morning and you say, how am I going to get somebody to rise together? And you can develop your own purpose every single day. Every single day we can develop our own purpose. And it is because of purpose you will lead to global good. So Jen and I run this program called Accelerating Social Transformation. We take people through this process for about 4.5 days at the University of Washington. We run it in the summer. If you all are interested, come and talk to us, chat with us, go check it out. But what I want you to now do is 2 exercises, and I'm going to let Jen take you through that.
Thanks, Dr. So the program, a little bit more about the program that we have in the summer, this idea of convening global purpose-driven leaders, really from all over the world. It's not just a United States effort. And what happens in that setting and what's happening, obviously, in this setting is you're having this great opportunity to cultivate a network, and not just an ordinary network. I mean, what's basically under this roof for today is quite robust. And so in thinking about, as you wrap up the day, be very intentional and thoughtful about thinking about who you've crossed paths with, who you connected with that you maybe had lunch with, but you didn't get their card, or most likely you've linked into most people. But the things that loose and new connections can bring can be quite unexpected, and it's very different from the other way of connecting to people on LinkedIn when you're sort of out to get a job and you need to connect to somebody at that company. That's a very different kind of connection than a loose and new one. And an example of that, I have there's a couple of guests that we have in the audience from an amazing program in the Basque Country in Spain. They're young entrepreneurs. They're part of an amazing program that's based on doing by learning, or learning by doing. And they come and stay in this country, in Seattle, and stay at the Hub Incubator and work on all kinds of entrepreneurial efforts. They connect to the community. And I basically got an email from them maybe a week ago. And between now and then, this idea of, well, actually, if you're going to be in town, see if you can come to this event. And I think 4 of them were here. They might be in other work sessions, I know, but the kind of things that can get ignited, that you don't even consider in your more methodical path toward getting what you want, are the ones that you want to open the doors to. And the program that we run is very much about that too. What can be ignited through collaborative relationships is really quite extraordinary. So what we're going to have you do is, I know it's an awkward space to do group things, and I know you've been doing group things for most of the day, but if you can sort of group yourselves in something other than pairs, maybe 3, like you 4 could kind of get together, and you 4 can get together. We're going to walk you through just a couple of exercises. In the first one, we're going to, if you're already sitting next to people that you know, you might want to mix it up, but introduce yourselves. And describe, in earlier presentations, they were talking about don't just describe who you are and what your role is and what company you work with, but really a deeper, more whole definition of who you think you are to your neighbor, and share your sense of purpose will be the third thing that you describe. So do you want to...
Yeah, let's take a couple of minutes to just have you...
regroup yourselves.
Let's share a little bit so we can hear from each other. Which group wants to start off? Start.
So we to talk about what we want.
You need a mic.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Get you a mic.
Get you a mic.
Oh, okay.
You take that side, I'll take that side.
So what are we supposed to talk about the future perspective? So all of us didn't get to talk about our future thing, but my friend here, you are Stephanie. If you want, you could share yourself. She talked about a future where there could be an environment of enablement for everyone. Like so many brilliant people and minds, and they just are not born in the right place, or they didn't have the right opportunities, and they don't get to see the success or, that they deserve. So having an environment where, we could enable more and more that for people.
A world would be so much better if we were able to use the power of every single mind that is there.
Yeah.
That, I think, would be just phenomenal. Thank you.
All right. So in our group, we talked mostly about education. We see education as a tool that would, be able to balance the inequities that we have in our world today. So we believe that providing enough resources at the basic level, that children are able to get quality education. Growing up, they will be able to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, or they'll be able to develop themselves to the point that they can use their talent to also influence society in a way that they wouldn't have been able to do without quality education. So I think most of us are interested in empowering disadvantaged children in rural communities to be able to get quality education.
So let me just reframe this just in a slightly different way. I know we like to create distinctions. Underserved community, poor people, and that immediately starts marginalizing. So I think what we are looking for from a common good is that every single individual in this earth should have the same opportunity for education. And in doing so, you're going to do what you all just said, is unleash the power of every single person to contribute. And so I think that then becomes a movement around which we can all rally. Great, thank you. We got a few more minutes. Go.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about across generations, from children to the elderly, and not, so I'll just reframe that.
Nobody actually calls me elderly.
No, I meant specifying ages. But we talked about healthcare and technology and community as unleashing everyone's ability, whether they have a non-visual disability or so much potential, that we really see a world where everyone is able to have access to healthcare and to pursue their own vision and dreams, not limited by the resources at their disposal.
So this is great, and I'm actually going to ask this young lady also to speak. But so we started off with a slightly broader sentiment, which is everybody should be able to utilize their power. And then we moved to say to get that, then we have to make sure that everybody gets the same education. And now you're talking about education is not enough. Everybody also has to get the same care around health. So that's great. Serena, what would you like to see in the world?
A world that there's no climate change. I don't know.
And?
Everyone's happy.
Happiness is great. And what would you like to do?
You would like to stop climate change.
All right. Thank you very much. You are a brave kid. Yes.
So we didn't exactly get to this section just yet. We had just finished up on the first section, but it seems like helping people is a common theme amongst everyone in our group. As far as the future we'd like to see, again, we didn't quite get there, but I could go with what I'd like to see, I guess. I'd like to see a huge decrease in war, because the war is such a thing. It controls so many aspects of our lives. It creates so much poverty and so much anger and hate in this world that's completely unnecessary. And I just don't understand the point of it, other than it being a capital generator for those that are very greedy. But that's my personal opinion. And if anybody in my group wants to have anything else to say. I know that's a very lofty goal.
But that's the goal for a movement, right? So if you start off with an Uber movement that every single person should have the opportunity to contribute to society, then reducing conflict is an important piece,
Exactly.
right? So that's, again, another building block. You all?
Okay, so what I said is that I'd like to see a world where women have equal opportunities politically, economically, and financially, and women have better access to capital, especially for small and medium-scale businesses, which is more common in developing economies. I'm sure everyone knows that the Goldman Sachs CEO said they won't take companies public anymore if you don't have one female on your board. And that says something, that women are good at handling businesses. So I want to see a world where women are allowed to impact businesses positively and, spread their wings in every other way.
Thank you. So to end, first of all, thank you all very much. Thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. So the power of collective thinking is critical. And you all, individually and collectively, are going to drive the change. There are two very, very important, and I don't want to sound facetious, but our young leaders, like Serena and others who are going to give up their weekend to spend time and engage intellectually, and all of you, women and this women network, are what is going to drive change. So we are walking out of here with 4 goals. 1, we will create equal opportunity for every single person. We will do that because we will strive to ensure that through our power, we will continue to bring education to every single person on this world. We will ensure that there is equitable health to everyone. We will work hard to reduce conflict and strife. And women will lead the way. Thank you very much.